You didn't hear it? Oh, okay.
I be trying not to laugh at that part. I'm trying to be like grown up. Okay.
This little hint is not it. Okay.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's another edition of Bestie Book Club. It's me, Angel Spires. I got my bestie, and we got our book. As you know, we're reading Becoming Myself by Stacey Eldridge. We've gotten very far. Now we're closer
Yeah,
to the end of the book. So,
pretty
we're,
much.
yeah, this week we're covering chapter 11, which is about becoming women of faith.
Yeah.
And the chapter really is a lesson on Mary. And if you're not familiar with who Mary is, like who Mary you talk about, child?
Right. Which one?
Mary, you talk about Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you are not familiar with that story, first of all, go read through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You'll get a picture of who Mary is. But basically, Mary was a virgin who an angel came to and said, "Hey, Mary, basically, God has chosen you to give birth to the Son of God."
Mm-hmm.
And Mary was like, "Hold up, I'm a virgin. What are you saying? Like, how am I going to be pregnant?" But it was God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit, that allowed this all to happen. Jesus is born, and the story goes on from there. But
Right.
it was a crazy story of faith, and I personally think that she was chosen because she already was a woman of faith. uh,
Right. Right.
she
Like,
already was strong in faith, but God wanted to use her for this, which took an extra amount of faith, and took her probably becoming a different person to be able to hold and carry and parent mother the Son of God.
mm-hmm.
Um, Now, because this is set up like almost like a case study, I want to call it, I invite you to read the chapter and learn for yourself. We not teachers,
Right.
okay? And I feel like Sis Stacy put on teacher hat here, um, and broke it down for Sis Mary.
She did.
So what we kind of wanted to do is talk about our journey of becoming women of faith. Still a continuous journey, um, honestly, but um, yeah. So you want to go first, Akia, since you had, your points.
Yes, I could try to formulate something. So one of the points from out of the book that I really liked was on page 215. And it was like, to be mature women, we have to be awake to the ache. So I know a lot of times when you are on your faith journey, you um, are going to have like setbacks and trials and things, and just real. I think for me, I just took it as where, when you realize that you're going through these things, that's when you need to, I guess, how can I formulate it? Where I think she also said it in the book too, where it's like not a can, it's a will. Like, how will God do this versus a how can he do that? Because I mean, we're gonna go through situations. We as we've talked about in previous videos and previous chapters and examples and things, we're gonna go through stuff. So it's like, if once you realize that and that you are going to go through an ache, you need to be awake to this ache so that you can essentially give it to God, and just see how he will bring you out of the ache. But I guess a place that I guess where I am in my faith journey right now, I think me and God, we've been here, we've been there, but it's like, I think in the I think my next step for, strengthening my faith is, I guess, getting more rooted in his words. So it's like, I will, like I've said previously, I do devotionals every day, but it's like, that's still just like, maybe one or two scriptures that we go over, and that just pertains to what shout out to Rick Warren. But what he, wants us to, I guess, ponder on for that day. But I think where I can, I guess, further grow would be to, I guess, dive deeper into that, so that I can get to know more of the word just on a more, I'm not gonna say daily basis, but a more, I guess, like, to more memorize it so it can come up more in different situations that doesn't just pertain to what I read in my devotional.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I am with my faith. Because it's like, I know it and I live it, but it's like, I need to dive deeper to
Yeah.
like, to just kind of to really get it. Because I feel like even just bringing it back to Mary, I feel like she has it, she had it, she was in it, and then I feel like it was deepened by the fact that she was pregnant with Jesus and she didn't know how. I think that's kind of where I am with my faith, just kind of getting to that deeper part of it.
So like how did you come into faith? Like did you grow up in church? Or like what was it like for you getting into faith?
So it's like my family were always, I guess, Christian based. So it's like I grew up around, and it's like I knew about God, like I knew about God like all my life, but it's like when I was like maybe middle school, I think when my parents branched away, it wasn't like mandatory, but it was like whenever like when I was younger, like we used to stay with like my grandparents, like we used to all like stay in the home together. So we would all go together, like we'd all just be there. I would always, be there. Or if I would go to like, my grandparents' house, it was still like, a persistent thing of going to church. But like, whenever my parents kind of branched out, it wasn't like their fault, but like we would just kind of go like Easters and, Mother's Days and like, the
You
holidays.
mean Christmas, Mother's
Yeah.
Day?
uh I feel like it was always there, but like I said, it just was never like strengthened and deepened because I used to go to like children's church, and I was never in any like Bible studies or anything, so I feel like my parents probably didn't want to go during the week. But uh it was always there, but it just, like I said, it just wasn't like deepened. So now that I'm older and now I can do the work, I need to just do the work.
Yeah. Was there like my bad, these questions are just coming up, but
No, you
was
can.
there like a defining moment where you was like, okay, this I'm making a decision and like I'm gonna go, like I'm gonna get to know you, God. Like I know of you, we cool, but like we going deeper. What was that like decision like for you?
I think my turning point was when I got in an accident in, I don't know what year that was. I want to say maybe it was like 2016, maybe,
Okay.
um, where I fell asleep at the wheel. So that was my turning point of like, okay, like, okay, like I'm here, we here. So it's like that. I think that was probably my biggest turning point. I mean, because even in the midst like of just how that story unfolded, like that was when my grandfather passed away, like the night of his funeral, like I was still trying to, I think I went to like Tiffany's party and then I was driving back to like it was a lot going on. But just to know that like I don't like that was a huge turning point. Granted, like I said, like I feel like it wasn't deepened, but it was a huge turning point to know that like, hey, I need to get it together. You know.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
yeah.
Um, I think my journey has been such a roller coaster. Like I'm not even gonna lie. It's like I mean my whole life, but my journey has just been so not textbook. I mean, I feel like nobody's faith journey is textbook at all because
No.
God is not textbook. But like I grew up around church and in church, and I
Yeah.
saw a lot of different church scenarios. Because we went to, I want to say I grew up in a non-denominational church when we lived in Georgia.
Okay.
And so I don't have a lot of like firm memories. It was like a small church, and I was just like, I remember feeling like family though, because we used to hang out all the time. So, but I never really had an idea of what was going on back then.
Okay.
But when we moved here, and our church was right up the street. I think I remember visiting a couple churches when we first moved here, but like I remember being at my church, going to Sunday school every Sunday. But it was obligation. We gotta go to church.
Yeah.
It was never like I don't want to. You going to church? I don't care if you feel sick and if you ain't on your deathbed. We going to church, okay?
Right.
You can go to Sunday school, and Sunday school was cool. I didn't care more so about the faith piece, but I wanted to hang out. Like I had some. I made a lot of friends back then in Sunday school
Gotcha. Yeah.
because I feel like we were all like
Just
at
there.
least talking about the high school phase. I feel like most of the people that I knew back then, we was all a different way, in school than we were in
Mm,
church. And so
yeah.
like kind of getting to know that balance was cool for me because I'm like, okay, I don't have to be perfect. Like, okay, cool.
Hmm.
So it was more like social time then. But it bothered me being obligated to go. Like, I think you talked about this maybe it's probably a few episodes ago, but I remember you saying like, certain things when you're forced to do it, it's like I don't even want to do this no more. Like, let me make a
Exactly.
decision. I don't want to do this
Exactly.
anymore. And so I feel like I said like the prayer of salvation back then, but I didn't really mean it. I did it because I learned about it. Oh, you what is it? They talked about like, confess your mouth and believe that Jesus died, blah blah. And I thought, okay, well, I did a little prayer. I was like, okay, cool.
So you
Like
thought,
I'm
yeah, it was
saved,
good. Yeah,
great.
right.
But it didn't mean much to me. Like it was like, okay, I'm still go do my thing. Cause you know what my life was like in high school and stuff like so it's like I really didn't take it seriously, but it was like, oh, my eternity is secure, so we good. Like that's it.
Right,
This is
right.
it. Cool. Um, but I can't say I really knew Jesus. And then college, because I had that freedom to choose, I decided I'm not going. Like
Yeah.
now I'm out here, and my mama can't tell me that we gotta go to church today. I'm not going.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't go. I don't think I even really thought about church freshman year, sophomore year. I don't even remember when I started even making my way back, to be honest, because those years were so crazy. Like, I remember, let's see, I do remember like starting back watching church online probably my junior year.
Okay, I
Um,
think, yeah,
I
I think
feel
I
like it
remember.
was around
Yeah.
that time. But it was like I feel like it was pretty ritualistic. Like, I'm doing this because this is the right thing to do, not
Hmm.
necessarily trying to get to know God on a different level though. And I was like listening to gospel music, but I was still listening to everything else. Like it wasn't. I was still kind of going back and forth. Like,
Right.
okay, dipping my toe in. Okay, yeah, I be going to church, but then like the night before, I was just lit,
You was
turning up,
turning
and
up. Yep.
doing my thing, and out here in the street. So, um, I do remember my senior year, well, the second half, the end, last semester,
Hey, it's
uh,
all good. It's all
the last semester of my senior year, I think is when I got a lot more serious about trying to get to know God better. Because I don't know what the shift was, but like I remember I was reading more, and I think back then is when I started doing devotions like regularly and
good.
trying to learn scripture and just trying to do something different. And then the very last semester being by myself, it was like I was trying to do better, still, wavering, but it was getting stronger. And then I think my turning point was it was for sure after college. The first major thing was being unemployed for those.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was like 6 months I was unemployed, and I was living off of my savings from the first like big girl job I had. Something was just like you need to save money. I was putting money aside, and when I was unemployed, I was living off of that, and then whatever like side hustle money I could live off
Yeah, I
of.
remember.
But eventually, them savings wore out,
Yeah.
and it was like a struggle to do anything. I remember like having no gas, but people would just bless me. Like I was still involved in church and ministry, which that was kind of my getting back into church,
Hmm.
serving in ministry, doing all that, but still cutting up outside of that. But anyway, I remember just people blessing me
We're
and God.
growing. Yep, we're still
You
growing.
know, we were still growing.
Hmm.
Thank God he loves us through it all and sees
Okay,
knows that all of that's
always.
gonna happen.
Yes,
Because
we're
it's
still.
part of the
I'm
story.
still.
We
I'm still
grow.
growing. Like I still got some
Exactly.
work to do.
We're gonna grow till we die. Like that's how it should be. We're
Hmm.
gonna grow till we die, and we're always gonna make mistakes. But thankful for grace. But um, woo. But yeah, I just
Like,
remember he really showed up as provider in my life in that season, and I saw him a lot differently. The major turning point is like as I talked about in my testimony with the promiscuity. The biggest testimony was when he straight up flipped the switch on me. It was like you're not doing this no more.
yeah, it was literally like I'm not gonna say night and day, but it was kind of like
It
night and
was
day.
it was overnight. Like
Yeah,
literally, it's like I went to sleep feeling like I'm living my best life, and I woke up like, whoa, what?
yeah,
This
because you was like
this
you
has to
deleted
change.
this, you deleted that, you deleted. I'm like, oh, well, good, but okay.
It was a really dramatic turning point,
It
and
was.
I was like, okay, I need to take this seriously. And so I started kind of diving in, getting tapped in with study and things like that. But since then, like I feel like I started out on fire for God, and then I feel like it's just been these like seasons. Like
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
that's a
going
good point.
hard.
That's a good point. It's
Yeah.
seasons. Yeah.
Like I be going hard, but then I get in this stagnant place, fear would stop me from doing things. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, God's not speaking to me. I still see you doing stuff, like that's cool and all, but like I just wasn't really making time to get to know him. It's just been like an off and on, sometimey, very, very lukewarm
Okay.
journey it's
Yeah.
been. And I think right now, I don't know. I feel like I've gone to a deeper level, but I think that with that has come different challenges that I like didn't see coming, I guess. Like
Hmm.
I totally feel like the pandemic was a great opportunity to dive in a lot deeper.
Hmm.
Um and I definitely studied a lot. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is really good. I feel like I know God in a different way. But then now I'm kind of at a plateau, I feel like, where it's my decisions that are doing the speaking. Like I feel like I'm at a point
So
where
you're
I
not
be
letting
talking a
God. You
lot.
feel. Sorry to cut you off, but do you feel like you're not letting, I guess, God lead you? You're feeling like you're letting yourself. You're kind of more relying on yourself
I
leading
think
you.
it's a middle point because there's a lot of areas where I see God leading me. Like for example, joining the church, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, that was completely God led. I felt him speak it and I made the move. I was obedient quickly. Well,
Mhm.
no, I wasn't obedient
I was
quickly.
saying, you wasn't.
I wasn't obedient quickly. That was a long process there. Uh, but I feel like I heard him, at least the recent decisions. I feel like I heard him loudly, and in this situation, as far as joining, I feel like I listened and moved, and I've seen him move in other things.
Right.
But like, there's still areas that I'm strongly like, I really need to let God be God, and I need to practice what I preach to other people,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it's about me making the decision and sticking to that decision. I think I've been very easily wavered. Like I think I'm still what's that word? What is the word? I think I'm still double minded in a sense.
Okay.
Like there's still a part that's like, well, I kind of want to do this my way, or well, I don't want to pray today. God, I don't need. And I forget. It must have been Mike Todd, but it's like saying, when you don't pray, it's like saying, God, I'm good. I got it today. You don't. I got
Hmm.
it. And like I get in moments like that where I just am going with emotions because I'm like, well, God knows. God is with me already. So I don't need to invite him because he's already here. But it's kind of like this back and forth where like, nah, sis, you really need to include him in everything. Um,
Right. Right.
so
Just
it's
let it
been
be a part of your
a,
subconscious to always do that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like facing the reality, facing the truth, and then me making a decision like, am I really gonna walk this out, or are you gonna be okay being lukewarm? Because the thing about, I believe it's in Revelation, he talks about like you either hot or you cold. Because if you lukewarm, I'm gonna spit you out. Like you can't be lukewarm in this. You need to make a
Yeah.
decision and be about that decision. You either for me or you not. And so it's a lot of reality checks for me now. Is like him showing me this what's up.
Hmm.
You decide what you want to do here.
You need to choose him. That's
You
all. Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your choice.
But he's still. Yep. It's definitely that. Yep.
So how you gonna act? And so every day,
Yep.
literally every day, it's been a decision. Um, and so that's where I'm at, still growing in this
Yes.
process of getting rooted, which is a struggle for me. It's a real challenge because I'm in a lot of uncomfortable situations
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
having to say, hey, this is what you say your decision was gonna be. How you gonna act though? Like
Hmm.
how you gonna really walk that out? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a challenge, but at the end of the day, God has been faithful, and so
Always.
even when I do fall off, he still speaks, and he has not taken his hand off of us, and
Nope.
he's obviously doing some shifting around me, and
Yes.
I'm really excited. I'm gonna have to call you later and talk to you about like what's really going on.
Okay.
But I'm like, there's some shifts going on, and it's just kind of like, okay, I don't know anything. It's that unknown, right? Like that faith, like you don't know nothing that's going on, but you have to
Mm-mm.
just say, okay, God,
Yep. Yeah, because I think
That's
what else did she say in the chapter? Sorry to cut you off, but she was saying as it says, she's a woman of wisdom who knew what to store in her heart. Nope, that's not the one. But it was pretty much saying that oh, but when we are rightly related to God, life is full of spontaneous, joyful uncertainty and expectancy. So that kind of
it's a perfect sentence.
yeah.
It's a perfect sentence.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're gonna do, I know it's gonna be, the right thing for the right
Hmm.
time. And so, okay.
And it's just the fact that you can just expect God to always be there. I think that's like the beauty, like what is it, like the silver lining,
Hmm.
whatever the saying is. It's just the beauty that you can always expect him to be there. Like he's I guess the double negative now, but I was like he's never not gonna be there. But yeah.
We're not.
Um but yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was a short conversation, but I'm glad we did that kind of spontaneously because I'm glad that we didn't have time to plan that
Right.
because I know
It could
for
just be true.
me, saying that out loud just made it more real.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And knowing that it's out there.
Yeah.
It's accountability. Like, okay, so what is that decision you're gonna make? How
That's true.
how
I
is
would say,
it
yeah.
out? So I'm
Definitely
glad.
accountability conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad that Spirit led us this way. And I guess encouragement for anybody watching is that, you know, it's a journey of faith. Literally, we're becoming women of faith. We're becoming people of faith. Okay. And the journey is, it's gonna be like you just said, it's gonna be spontaneous. It's gonna be moments. It's gonna be uncertainty. Um, but I think that two things we can control is our actions and our attitude.
Yep. Yep. That
How
is
what's your
so
perspective
true.
going through the journey, and what are
Yep.
you gonna do about it?
Yep.
What are you gonna do about it? Because God is the same. He's not changing. We are.
Yep.
Just like, man, that Facebook post from a while back, like, if you feel far from God, who moved?
Who moved?
Who
Yeah, that's
moved?
true. That's true.
And that's the word for my life right now. Wow. So glad I just reminded myself about that.
Okay, we don't
Um,
need reminders and refreshers.
yeah. So leaving this conversation, I'm very curious to know about you guys' journeys. Like, what's your journey of faith been like? How have you seen yourself becoming a woman or man of faith? What has that been like for you? I want to hear about it.
Right.
And I definitely see some conversations coming in the future about, hearing some people's
Other
stories
people's story. Yes.
of faith.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely read chapter 11, learn about Mary and her journey to becoming a woman of faith. And
Yes.
as you walk along your journey of becoming, just remember God is with you. He knows the end result and He knows every step of your journey. So, the only two things you can control is your actions, your attitude about it.
Yep.
But God's going to be God.
Right. Always.
And He wants to be close to you. So, with that being said, make sure you like, comment, tell us
And
about your journey,
subscribe. Yep.
subscribe to
And
the
below.
channel as we close out this book, and come back next week and chat with
Yes,
us.
yes.
So, peace.